And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hi, welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Melody, and this is my dad. Today we're reviewing Drop Sight.
Drop Sight is a game that is based on the theme of dropping cards to people who need aid. It's a very good theme. It's a theme I think anybody can get behind. Although, like many games, this theme doesn't really matter. It's just a card game. This card game was the winner of a card game design contest. Is it worthy of winning that contest? Let's see. The gameplay is very simple. This is for 3 players. Each player is going to draw 5 cards from the deck. The deck is made up of different cards that go from 0 to 12. They're numbered on the side. There's a number at the top there. This big number on here is the scoring of that card. So you turn one of these over to form the first drop sight. Now on my turn I have a few options. I can play a card on this drop sight here that is lower than that number. So that's a 10, so I could play a 7 there because a 7 is lower than a 10. Or if there's a 10 and 7, I can play a 6. You can keep playing cards. Or I can start a completely new drop sight, and then play will pass to the next player. Now, on the next player's turn, they can do the same thing. Or, what you can do instead of playing a card at middle, is you can play a card face down in front of you. That card is considered to be in your debt. And then it's the next person's turn, and they will either add one to the board, or they will play a card in front of them into their debt. And this will continue. After the end of your turn, you draw a card. Now the game will end when there's a certain number of drop sights on the table. For 2 players it's 5, for 3 players it's 6, for 4 players it's 7 drop sights. As soon as it happens, the game will immediately end. Before we get to that though, I should mention that when a 0 gets to a drop sight, then that drop sight is finished. We turn the whole drop sight sideways. That drop sight has landed, and you can even start another drop sight on top of that one. So you at the end of the game, let's say these are the drop sights that are out there. So these are the 5 drop sights. In a 3-player game, it would be 6 drop sights. So these are the 6 drop sights that are out there. We have a 0, 4, 2, 7, 11, and 12. These are the cards I've stuck in my debt. So I have a 2. Hooray, that matches this 2. That's 4 points. I put a 6 in my debt. That doesn't match anything, so I lose 2 points for every card I don't match. I have a 3. I lose 2 points for that. I have a 5, I lose 2 points for that. I have a 10, I lose 2 points for that. Well, this was a really bad round for me because I got 4 points, but I lost 8. Now, that probably won't happen. Maybe someone else put in 2 zeros, so they're going to get 3 points for each of those because they matched this one. Or there would be 2 zeros out here, and I put this down, and I would get 3 points for each one that I match. You add up the points that you've gotten at the end of a round. Rounds are really quick. And then the first person to get to 100 points or 50 points, if you want to play a shorter game, you should, is the winner. Did I say dropping cards for people who need help?
Yeah.
Well, maybe if they want to play games. Okay, dropping aid to people who need help. Dropping packages to help people. Okay, but let's talk about the game itself. What did you think of Drop Sight?
I thought it was fun how you had to try to keep the numbers that you put down alive in the decks so that you would get the points. Not to get the points deleted. But it was a lot of fun. I was like completely losing in the beginning of the first game we played. He had like 17, I only had 1. I ended up winning. Okay, that's not the point. the point is really it's a very simple game. It reminds me a lot of Botswana, which I got around here somewhere. But Botswana and other games like that where essentially you're putting cards in front of you and you want those cards to match the ones out there. So you will play cards in the middle so that they match the ones you have. But then someone else can play one on top of your card, which just deletes that. So then you got to get another card out there. Yeah, it's just back and forth. And once you get to, let's say you're playing a 2-player game, you get to 4 drop sites. Either player can end it at any time. In a 4-player game, you have 6 drop sites. Anybody can end it at any time. And so everyone's kind of on edge because you want to add cards to your score pile before the game ends, but at the same time you want to make sure that the cards in your score pile are actually going to score you points. I found it's super simple.
Super simple. Cool theme. Super simple, though. Just boom, 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 boom. I thought 100 points kind of drags the game out a little bit longer than you want to play. It's like, all right, let's play the 15th round of this. No, I'd rather play, the game for 5 or 6 rounds and then be done with it, which you can do. But for a small game, which can easily fit into a pocket, it's a that wasn't so easy, huh? It really is a good game. Like I said, it won that little card game award, and I think for good reason. High recommendation from me. Drop Sight. And you?
Really good.
Really good.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.